Well, hello there, Applebites. This is your Applebite Written Ralph talking to you straight from our show here, The Written Writ. A show where you and you get creative, have fun, and geek out. And of course, today we got a plethora. No, actually, we got two people here. we got Paul, and we got Will. And of course, DM Ray will be joining us in a little bit. He's running a little bit late. But, I got to say,
I got to say something first. One,
go for it.
I'm going to contradict what you just said because two's company and three is a crowd. So, Will, we're a crowd.
We're a plethora, right?
We are a crowd. Okay, so
Hey, I love the word plethora. If I can use it, I'm going to keep using it.
Hey, if you've got more than you need, you can save a plethora. So, hey, we're good.
It always bugs me out because I use the word plethora a lot, and people always look at me like. Speak of the devil, there is the Ray Man himself, DM Ray.
Good evening, folks. Good to see you.
Ray.
Hey,
You came in at the right time.
good to meet you.
I think
You
this
are
is the first time
fashionably
we've met.
late.
Well, I'd rather not be fashionable. I'd rather be on time. But
But he's got his kick-ass cover behind him, which is awesome.
Dude, look at that. Oh. So when do we start getting the books?
well, we got a couple more things to check off on boxes. There's some lettering still to go, and a couple of pages are still getting colored. The goal is August, as we advertised on the Kickstarter.
Right.
We're still shooting for that. So I'm just happy. It's a really nice feeling, but also very relieving. There's this weird contrast of satisfaction, but like de-stressing. I don't want to say relief because that's not the right word, but finishing this mini series and having it a complete thing. I'm not thinking of next April because I've been releasing one issue every April. I'm not thinking of that specifically. Completely unrelated to fantasy, I've partnered up with three. Have a good night. It's 9:37 here, but I have three stories I'm writing for other people. I've been hired accordingly, so I'm they're short stories, and it's flattering that people have noticed me enough to not only consider me but take a chance on me, to put my name on their brand. I can't say anything else at this point, but with the exception of Bad Dog Inc. with Tom Hutchinson. He's expanding his what he calls the Critterverse with his flagship title Critter. There's a group in there called Paranauts, which is basically a mix between BattleTech, Mech Warrior, that franchise, and Power Rangers. And it's a really, I've been having a lot of fun playing in that sandbox.
Sounds like a good sandbox.
Yeah. Oh, yep. Absolutely. It's a short story because it's going to be in an anthology piece. And so I don't have a full book to work with, but with that said, there's a lot of blessings with that as well. I get to just have fun in the fun. It's a short story. I don't have to make sure certain things are woven through an entire larger story. I can get to the fun, make the awesome happen, walk away and enjoy it.
I feel like one of the best things to do is especially as a writer, because it's very difficult as a writer, especially in comics, to get your stuff out there because you have to hire an artist, you have to do all this other stuff.
Yeah, man.
But working on these little anthologies is the best way to do it, especially like if you're going to do it yourself, because usually in the anthology you only need about 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. That's much cheaper to do than 26 pages.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. It's been a lot of fun. That one I'm very excited to finish it. I've almost done everything on my side in regards to writing. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that puppy looks when it's put together, get my copy, read it over. I'm also looking forward to the other two stories. Everything's, as they say, one man's, I don't want to say trash, but something that's discarded by one could be a very big deal for another. And there's stories, I'll just say they're a big deal to me. I don't know how else to put it. I'm really looking forward to fleshing these things out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep. Sorry. Can I clarify something? Because I'm not sure. Are we?
Yes, sir.
Are you talking about writing for comic books and somebody can illustrate them, or short stories?
Comic book specifically. Yes. Okay. So I've been hired to write the script on some of them. It's a different world than, say, a novel for all the obvious reasons, but there's some trade-offs. The interesting thing I found for writing for scripts for comic books is a picture's worth 1,000 words. Well, you have to talk about each picture, but be concise and not use 1,000 words, which I find very interesting and challenging. It's really, really cool, because if you give too many creative constraints, you actually choke out the artist's flair. I hire specific artists because I like their flair. The fella behind me, I said the positions of every individual, but in regards to everything else, I tried to leave it as much to his interpretation as possible.
Oh, absolutely.
So I get the best from him, kind of thing. It's a lot of fun writing for comic book.
Yeah, I find that same thing. Even when you're doing when you're like, I'm not an artist. I cannot. Okay, my drawing skills are negative. But but a lot of I do try to put. I'm trying to put a decent amount of art in my books, and working with the artist and giving them. You can really tell too what artists have a intuitive sense of visualization when you can, when you talk to them, but when you can give them instructions and that what you gave is going to come back better than what you gave them. Everything you asked for, but with more, then I've been lucky to find 3 artists whose work I really like. And most of using it was actually one of my players.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, I met them by Levy does amazing, very expressive, like character art, like dynamic character art. So I really love that. And then others, I've had some really good art, but that I've been able to get into the system. But yeah, it's a lot. It's just a lot of back and forth to get it right, to do it right, and get across.
Yeah, I really hate arguing with the artist, and it's really bad when my wife starts saying, "Will you stop fighting with yourself?" So it's just like,
oh my god,
I can respect that.
As a writer, I'm already fighting with myself, so I could just imagine if I was the artist. that fight would be vicious.
So honestly, it's a case where I do think having two perspectives improves it in a lot of ways.
Yeah,
two creative people,
the collaboration.
Yes, improves it.
There's times where I'm working on something and I really need to bounce it off to somebody. And the problem with writing sometimes is, as writers, we tend to be very on our own, very lonesome, very. And even when we have a chance to talk to other writers about what we're doing, we're always like, "Are you going to steal what I'm having?"
Well, that is one of the advantages of writing role-playing books, because inherently it's a social activity, and the actually playing it with people is so insanely important.
Oh, it is
to get it right. But also, it's great for creativity because things come up all the time that you never thought of.
And it's funny because, and I say this all the time on the show, I wouldn't be the writer I am today if it wasn't for role play, for D&D, for Vampire the Masquerade, because it brought out a level of creativity that I wasn't able to do without the role play.
Right.
So I completely agree with you.
One thing I found personally in regards to that very dynamic you're talking about, I think specifically it's cool to flesh out a character and how they interact with the world.
Yeah.
But role playing for me allowed me to get that synergy between characters, that glue, to make it feel more natural as they interact with each other and their surroundings. That was the big one for me in role playing.
I have to say, Ray, I completely agree with you, because one of my favorite things has been to play in the games that you have been setting up with your Kickstarter, because we've been playing characters that are our characters, and it kind of gives you a whole different feeling of the character, because now you're playing him in a situation and seeing how they react to the things around them. Right. And it gives you a chance to actually live the life of this character, or get a better understanding of the character.
Right.
Yeah, you never know until you're playing something out how you are, or in this case, how your character would be. Yeah. So yeah, I agree 1,000%. So
there's that cliche when they say sometimes the character writes themselves.
Yeah.
And when you're doing a role playing game, that's literally what's happening. Somebody,
Yeah.
it's just going.
That's
And
right.
Again, it's funny that you say that because what ends up happening a lot with writers is that the characters get a life of their own.
Mhm.
And every once in a while, it gets dangerous with these characters and their lives of their own, especially villainous characters who are trying to take over the world.
One of my favorite things about writing villains, I'll use the Marvel Cinematic Universe as an example for both extremes. I shouldn't say extreme in one way, but one extreme in a bad way is when you can't justify the villain. So in this case, Thor: The Dark World, the second Thor movie, most people forget everything about the main villain. And there's a reason for that. There's nothing to drive the villain forward. It's just bad person wants to do bad thing, and there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
That character in the comics, that dark elf, he's called Malekith. There's many in all the iterations I've seen of him. It's always something vengeance driven. One of my favorite interpretations of him was Thor: Tales of Asgard. It has a young Thor and a young Loki. And at the end, it's this big betrayal arc by Malekith trying to slay Odin. And the reason for that is in war, you don't always get to pick the ideal best solution. And one of the solutions that was chosen by Odin had a lot of losses with the Dark Elves. So Malekith has this big, long game betrayal to try and stick it to Asgard. I get it. I understand why he's trying to do what he has to do. That doesn't mean I justify it. In the movie, bad guy wants to do bad thing with the red Infinity Stone of reality. It doesn't sit with me. Most people can't even remember his name, let alone what he looks like. And then on the flip side, if you have something like Thanos, even though he, in my opinion, he was butchered for the movie's sake, even butchered movie Thanos, if I eliminate half of life, we would all have double the resources. Sure, flawed logic, but I at least have a reason to understand why he's doing what he's doing.
And that's the reason why I was upset when they got rid of the whole love story between Thanos and Death.
Yeah.
Because that makes way more sense. Because, who wouldn't do something stupid to win over the love of their life?
It's very clear.
I don't think Marvel really stretches. MCU doesn't stretch into the comic book world. I mean, they only go so far. Like to personify death in MCU would go against them because it doesn't fit into the reality. I mean, they're always like trying to defend the sacred timeline, and they're always trying to do things that, like, wait a minute, this is not real, guys. I mean, this is like fantasy. And you do whatever you want, things can blow up. What's the problem? So it's just like,
you say that, Paul, but then they personified death.
Yes, with
in Agatha all along.
Yeah.
That's another good example.
And I'm sitting there going, why didn't you do this before?
I look like I think at one point in the Marvel movies they had the intention of trying to make a cohesive, like, single universe, like some of the Marvel spin-off universes, where they had a cohesive, even almost theme in the universe. They wanted something like that with the movies, and then they get after Avengers, they gave up on that. And you can really see it.
Yeah,
you can really see it.
You
can really see that they stopped trying to keep things cohesive.
I wish I could argue with
that.
you, Will.
But the main reason for that, if Disney bought Marvel in 2012, at that point the MCU was 4 years into the game, and they already had plotted out roughly what the first three phases were going to be, finishing off with Avengers Endgame. Disney, who Endgame finished in 2019, but in 2012, when they bought Marvel in its entirety, well, they already have this plotted out. If it isn't broken, don't fix it. But once Endgame is done, we want to try something different. And it just didn't work out for them. That's just the nicest way to put it. Regardless of people's opinions, it obviously on paper was just not a smart move. It looks like what they're doing with Avengers Doomsday is trying to swing back to pre-Endgame as opposed to post-Endgame.
But Fantastic Four was great. I love that movie. It's a great movie.
That's leading towards Doomsday. Yeah, I love Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four was great. I mean, it's like old school FF,
It felt like Jack Kirby, Stan Lee era Fantastic Four.
Johnny and Ben like having like the antics going on. It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great.
I think the best thing they did was put it in the 60s because I feel like one of the problems that Fantastic Four has always had was they kept trying to modernize it instead of just like tell the story.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that because when I watch it, yeah, that Kirby-esque, the 60s feel. Another way of saying it is, I say to my friends, well, if you kind of feel like you have superhero fatigue, this is the same thing, but it's with the Jetsons. That's basically it. And they're like, Jetsons with superpowers? Okay, I can entertain that. Let's see how this goes.
It's fun. It was fun.
Oh,
movie.
absolutely. Yeah, I enjoyed that completely.
So, Will, now that we geeked out a little bit and we brought you into the fold, why don't you tell the people all the good stuff about what you're doing? Give them the spiel.
All right.
Tell us where this all came from.
All right. So, yeah, just if you haven't seen the bomb, my name is Will Little. And basically, I'm a tabletop gamer. That has been my main hobby since college. So I've been working on that for a long time in multiple ways. The biggest, and I really started seriously looking into doing something substantial, as far as something that actually published something after COVID. Before then, I had played around with some board games, designing, trying to get them published. But during COVID, the biggest after I launched the Game Map, which is a website for help people find gaming events. Because I actually got more into role playing during COVID because I did a ton online, a lot of role playing fun, and got very involved in that. But I was missing in person so bad. And I knew that they were all over the place, but they were just very hard to find. So I went and launched the Game Map, which is basically a nonprofit. I never intended to really make money off that. But it got me back involved in the scene, I guess, or got me involved with the conventions again, got everybody. And last year, after I thought about and really wanted to do this for many years, I decided it's time to actually go publish the books, actually put out a game. And so I started working on Glorious Fate. Now, the actual writing period for the Glorious Fate was actually very short. I started in September I put out the first draft in September last year, and officially published it 2 months ago. So because what it is really is distillation and of stuff I've been working on for forever. And then with that, I'm putting out settings and world books in which to use these very rules light narrative role playing game rules to have fun in these world books. The settings, examples, a lot of information on there. We just pulled up the YouTube. I've started putting out some very short YouTube videos about how to use the game roleplay. Put them out there because the biggest thing that I don't know if any of you ever played Fate or heard of the game Fate.
I don't think we have.
It's an extremely unusual role-playing game as far as especially if you come from Dungeons and Dragons, which approaches from a very narrative, word-based direction. The most important thing on this character sheet are the words that I'm writing in the example right now. And I took that further. My biggest changes, I actually wanted to go and cut out everything that I found was ever getting in the way during a game.
Right.
And distill without losing the essence or the game flow. But I just wrote 2 words on that character sheet, and I am more than halfway done with my character as far as finding
right on.
So this is like an example here. Is I'm writing. Okay, I want a character for my setting, Criminal Spirits. It's about speakeasies and magic and supernatural creatures. He's a haunted bartender. That's and that actually covers a lot in the game because the game is very very word based. There's no separate skills. There's no skill checks. There's no stat. There's only The only stats are approaches about how you do things, not what you're doing. So being a haunted bartender tells you what he can do and what happens with what kind of actions he'll be getting up to during the game.
What made you decide on the setting?
That is about. I was actually floated 3 settings early on to a bunch of people I play with, because with the archers, I am not short of setting ideas. If you wanted me to, I could come up with setting ideas nonstop. So I wanted to see. I went and said, okay, here's. I just put together 3 that got my imagination going.
Right.
Said, these are cool. Like, this is clearly something here. And I was like, mobsters are cool. Urban fantasy is cool. Especially ghost witches, and the 1920s was a very interesting time in mysticism as well.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of weird stuff was coming to be believed and things, but you also still had all the old beliefs being brought over from Europe at the time that were still very fresh in people's minds.
And there was a lot of spiritualism in the 20s.
A ton of spiritualism in the 20s.
Yeah.
But there was new spiritualism, but there's also, like I said, still the old folk spiritualism.
Exactly.
That we don't really have. People don't think about much, but it was very prevalent.
Yeah, a lot of that has stayed back there with it, or even if it's around now, is not as big as it was back then.
Yep. So it was a place you have a lot of interesting, I thought, new ideas and interactions and character types.
I love it because like I was saying, I love noir. So as soon as I saw this, I was like, okay, right down my alley.
Yep. And that honestly is what I found. By far the easiest part of writing all of my books, everything I'm working on in that setting, is writing really interesting characters. Like, the characters in this setting, more than any other I've worked with, just jump off the page. Like, you think, and you don't. I start and I don't stop writing for like 5 paragraphs, which is frankly too long for a NPC in an RPG. So I have to go and
maybe long for an NPC, but for our story.
Yeah. So, and I also like to run very improv focused games with honestly relatively little preparation, because I find games run better when you're not over prepared. And my system is designed to encourage that level of play, where literally, if you want to create something up in the middle of the game, it's just 1 sentence on a index card, and you've got a character. So
I like that. It sounds like a simple way to play, and also gets you playing really quickly.
Yes, but you're playing quick, and again, I try to make sure nothing will slow you down during play. That when you're in the groove, nothing gets in your way. That's what's streamlined in that way, so that once you're in the groove and you're actually got the role playing going, you got the talk and the action and thing. Nothing makes you stop. That is honestly my big problem with Dungeons and Dragons and all its variants that came off of it, except original. Except the very first Dungeons and Dragons. The original D&D is actually, in my opinion, an amazing RPG. But with some major flaws, let me be clear. But this was the first, right? But I do find I have trouble playing Dungeons and Dragons now, because every time I actually regret getting into. I regret the fights. I feel that they make the game less enjoyable in many ways. And I've run Dungeons and Dragons. I ran a 7-year Dungeons and Dragons campaign. In 5th edition, right when it came out. But I just find I want less and less.
I feel you, because I've gotten in trouble before DMing, where I'll play a little loose with the rules, especially when it comes to like especially if the role play and the story is getting deep. Every once in a while you're like, okay, let's just continue down this way. But somebody's always like, hey, where's the fighting?
Yep. Well, one of the things that crystallized in my head was a game called Masks. I don't know if any of you ever heard of Masks either.
I don't think I've ever heard of Masks.
Mask is in my head. It's one of the three best written games I think I've ever played. It's a very specific game. It does one thing and one thing only. It does teenage superheroes. That's
Yeah.
it. Nothing else works. But Mask also, some of the best fights I've ever been in Masks, I've ever played an RPG were in Masks. And Mask has exactly one rule for combat. The only thing that happens in Mask is you take a powerful blow.
Right.
Everything else is handled completely narratively. And yet it works really, really well. You're going back through some of my old things here, yeah, from
Yeah, but it's all interesting.
Stuff. Yep. There's some old pictures I took from different places. That was down in Philadelphia.
It's completely interesting, though.
So that really made it, crystallize in my head that
Mhm.
you don't need a lot of rules to make really exciting combat. And in fact, often it gets in the way to be tracking numbers.
I've seen that meme on a D&D meme where it was spent 30 seconds describing a 3-week voyage.
Yep.
And then on the flip side, spent 3 weeks discussing a 30-second combat scenario.
Yeah.
And to me, that takes most of the drama out of it.
It does
Yeah, I
slow
get
it
that.
down, especially when the mathematics of the fight get in there.
Right.
Because I've seen it before where you have a great flow in the role playing, and then this fight happens, and by the end of the fight, whatever storyline was happening kind of like disappears.
Because one of the things that really makes it separate from like writing, when you write, the fight is a character defining moment.
Yeah.
The fight is character development. Combat is character development in most writing, and most drama, and TV, and movies. The fight is maybe not movies. Not only the good movie, only the better movies. But in the well-written movies, the fights are also character development. And usually the fights you remember best are the ones where something happened importantly in the character development. And Dungeons and Dragons, especially after like early editions, forgot that they treated combat as a board game.
Yeah. Because they try to make it better and better and better, and then it turns it more and more into a board game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know. I think that's what I like when we're playing with our pal and DM Ray's little thing, because he just makes it fun.
Michael.
Michael.
Yes, Michael Towson.
Yeah.
What game are you playing?
Usually we play one shots with him. He usually uses whatever the most current D&D edition there is. So right now he's using 2024.
Right.
Any DM, you need the balance. You need the narrative balance. You need the combat balance. You have to understand, even in combat, not even just balance of combat, but balance of when to force an end of combat. Great example of that is if you and a buddy are engaging in a dozen goblins and 3 of them are left, they're obviously cowards. They're obviously going to run. You don't need to fight that one out to the death. Those type of things.
I have strong opinions, and if you're willing to do it, I can easily talk 5 or 50 minutes about this.
I hear you. But just to finish what I was saying with Mike Towson, he has a really good balance that works to complement D&D system, which come for a one shot. It's a great end product. It's a good time.
Yep. So first of all, the original Dungeons and Dragons had morale rules, and they were mechanically it was mechanically the original Dungeons and Dragons had real problems, but conceptually it had so many good ideas that they dropped in later editions. Now, I based my game on Fate, and one of the things that made Fate really great for telling stories is the concept of the concession. it is not expected a fight and fate goes to the death. Eventually, people in the fight should start conceding.
Right.
And basically, it's a negotiation about what happens at the end of the fight, based on how badly or well things are going for different characters. And I use this all the time. It's a great effect thing, especially for time-limited one-shots. But it also, everybody enjoys it because it gives all the players a hand in crafting the story again. They don't feel like you're taking control from them. They feel like you're giving control to them. And it improves, but you're improving the pacing for everybody. Because also, if they're bored, they're more likely to be willing to concede or accept a concession from an opponent. So it's a self-regulating thing. If the fight's going awesome, everybody's happy, everybody's engaged. It's like no, they want this to go on all session. Then nobody's conceding.
I gotta say, recently I was playing with a group, and I had a player who they like fighting. They enjoy the fight, and they would get really descriptive on what their character was doing in the fight. So it made me have to pivot a bit and learn how to bring combat into the game in a different way, because the character would be like, I run across, I slash their Achilles heels. Now, the game itself, D&D doesn't account for these types of injuries. So now as a DM, you got to figure out how you're going to account for this. And it makes it more dramatic now, because now this villain has to keep in mind that he has this injury and fight in a different way. And I feel like it actually brought more to the game because of it.
And a lot of indie role-playing games have that kind of thing built into them. The one I base mine off, Fate does. It has exceptionally one of my favorite games. All have that kind of stuff built into them. And it really does.
I like what you're coming across, and it looks like you're in the right place, because I know Daggerfall is more about the role playing.
Daggerfall is very interesting, actually. I got to play it with actually some of the Daggerfall development team, not the writers, but some of the developer team on there. And I was very impressed. I was very impressed, and their biggest departure is their initiative system, which ran very well with a good GM. I do see it. So that's you got that. It puts a lot of burden on the GM, but works very well when you. I don't know if you played it yet. Have you played the Daggerfall initiatives?
I've read a lot about it. I haven't had a chance to play it yet.
The thing that really makes it different is you don't know when turns will end. You don't know when the players will lose control and the game master is going to have the enemies go. It's randomly determined. So it makes for a very different experience. You can't strategize the way you can strategize, but you can't be sure if you even get how you get to go. But it does require the game master to manage the table effectively.
That when I was reading the rules and reading that came across really well. The DM has to stay on top of the game.
Well, half of game master of running a game is managing the players.
Yeah,
it's the biggest skill probably in running a game. Is keeping the players engaged, reading the players. We were talking before the start about online versus offline. And that's one of the places where online is harder to run a game in. It's a lot harder to manage a large group in a chat than it is in the on-tap table in person.
I can see that.
Yeah.
That's why, when we're playing with Michael, it bugs me out because he's able to because when we play with him, it's live and it's streaming, but he's able to stay in control of the party. He's able to all the stuff that you're saying. He's able to do, and because I've been in some games where the DM just loses control and it just turns out into more of a hangout.
One of the things with Michael I've noticed, and this should apply to all GMs, is the fact that his modules he has overly prepared. When I say overly, that doesn't mean he brings the over preparedness, but he's ready because he's done these one shots so many times. It feels very natural, but for him, he's done it a bunch of times. So the repetition really gives him that advantage to ensure a good time with the players buying in.
Yep. I find actually the important thing is to fake it.
Yes.
As an improv, improv is so important.
Yes.
GMs who actually believe they can prepare for a game are first all wrong. And secondly, usually means they're bad at it because they're going to try to they have already thought how things are going to go, and they want things to go that way.
Yeah, they railroad, as they say.
They railroad, but they also or ignore or like punish actions that like just because they were not ready for them.
Right.
So that's again why the longer I've run games, the more I've gone towards rule light improv games. The more I've really, got games where you can just make stuff up in the moment. Yeah. Paul, do you play role-playing games a lot?
I used to. Right now, I'm kind of consumed with other things, but yeah, I play D&D with my kids. Just the story you're referring to, Will, actually go back to when I was in college, and my roommate wanted to be a dungeon master. I said, "Sure, I'll play with you." So he actually, threw me into a situation. Literally within 20 minutes, I was caught in a castle. I was in a Velcro suit, attached to a Velcro board, and I died. I said, "Bill, this is not the way to go, man." I mean, it was like, there's nothing going on. I know you just constructed this great Velcro suit, but I'm sorry, man. I'm not having fun right now.
Maybe he misunderstood what Dungeon Master means. Exactly. In that case. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he really wanted to play God, was really what he wanted to do. So.
It sounds like a very Cthulhu-esque type of setting. You wake up and you die. The end.
Yeah, that's basically it. I was in Velcro on a Velcro board, couldn't move, dead. Okay.
It's kind of funny how Cthulhu-esque has gotten that impression when you actually go read the original books. I mean, honestly, humans weren't doing too bad most of those situations. The actual original book, yes, Lovecraft, he had mental issues, massive mental. And his characters had mental issues, which is actually interesting. But you actually go look what actually happens when the Cthulhu Mythos things got exposed to people. Humans have a weird success rate in those books.
Yeah, man. Anything that if fans really like something, the artist or the person in charge of the story will usually flare that up a bit. If fans are liking, I'll steer it that way. A really good example is the original interpretation of Venom, who Todd McFarlane was the first to draw. He's got teeth, he's got a mouth, he's got a smile, and he's bigger than Peter Parker. But people are like, man, those teeth look cool. So he started making them more uneven, more jagged, having the tongue come out a bit or out a lot after a while and stuff like that. It tailored towards the fans. It sounds like many Lovecraftian elements were embellished for the same reason.
Yep. Mm-hmm. They became Flanderized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's role play in general is just interesting, and the reaction of people when it comes to role play in general. People have their opinions on what it is, what it isn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It always interests me because you end up having these weird conversations, and the thought process on what they think role play is.
Yes.
It makes no sense to me.
Well, there's some people. There's a lot of people who approach it like it was a competitive board game or a card game.
Yeah.
They approach. There are people who actually approach the role playing games as competitive sport. They're there to succeed. They're there to win. They're there to be the best or whatever however they approach. They want to win the game that session, every session.
Yeah, I thought one of the best comments by the Artemis crew was, I think it was a pilot. He basically said, "We're not a team, we're a crew," and it's like we're here to like support each other, and that's one thing I think people really miss. With the role playing aspects, like the DM is there to guide you in terms of what you're doing. He's not out there to cut you down. I mean, challenge you, but really you're supposed to work as a crew, as to work together to figure out situations. That's what makes it fun. And I think when people like intentionally are out to get the players and do them in, they're missing the whole aspect of it. It's really meant to be a shared experience between the players themselves and the DM, and that's where you get the whole experience to come through.
There is one exception to that rule, because you're obviously right. That is the rule. It should be, at least, or maybe not because of improv. But regardless, exception to the rule. I think I've told Raph this story before. One time I did a one shot where 6 politicians were locked in a dungeon by a king and a queen. They were druids, so true neutral, right? There's an invading army coming into their territory, and the druids, the king and queen, want the 6 politicians to figure it out. There's 3 different parties that the politicians all belong to. They were not evenly distributed, and each party had a different opinion of where to put a specific artifact that would have an influence on the realm and aid in defenses. What each politician didn't know is every one of them was a warlock, and everyone had a different patron, and they all had different goals that they had to do before they figured out where they were going to put this artifact. They couldn't leave. The king and queen wouldn't let them leave. They're powerful druids, so their entrance was sealed off. They couldn't get out. And one guy was looking for a vampire, was told one of the other 5 politicians was a vampire. One guy was actually working for the invading country. So by any means necessary, try and get the artifact put in a specific area where it would be utilized the least and the weakest advantage. And there was the weirdest thing about it, everybody mistrust each other, even on allied political parties. And all chaos broke out. It was supposed to be a one-shot. They were having so much fun, and there was combat and not combat for all the obvious reasons already stated. It became a 2-shot simply because they couldn't figure things out. By the end of it, 2 of them were pretty much like almost dead. They go into hiding in this dungeon. There's the 4 left, and they're in a standoff. If we all agree on this thing, we can stop fighting, right? We have majority. Let's agree on it. Okay. And then that ended it. The 2 people in hiding came out, and they all left on their own fruition.
That's fun.
Nobody was working together until that very last
moment. Yeah.
That's an experimentation in people.
Oh, it was delicious.
But it was still a cooperative game, though. That's
that's right.
People had goals, but they were all there to tell a story. They realized that they were playing their characters, not trying to points. And the game master also especially was there to make the story go well.
It's one of the things I've never understood is somebody who gets into a game and they're trying to disrupt the game and not play the game, and you're like, dude, I know your character's a loner, but loner characters work with other characters. They find a reason to work with them.
Yeah, it's that classic. It's what my character would do to justify being a jerk. I've just recently I've been able to put that into words better, because everybody understands that, but it's not really. It's when an individual hides behind a virtue to justify being a jerk. That's what it is. They hide behind, well, I'm doing a good thing, right? So now it's okay. Yeah, no, that's not how this goes. Yep. You can't hide behind that virtue to make this game more difficult. Let's play. You could get something out of this to make your character participate. Just work with something. It's got to be something. Let's see some fun here.
So, Will, if somebody wants to play your game, wants to check it out, wants to test it out, how can they do that? Because I know you were at Tabletop as a DM. What are good places for them to check this out?
Okay, well, the first thing is you've got the website up. So if you go to gloriousfate.com, First, you can download the rules for free. There's a link to both Patreon and DTRPG where you can download the 10-page rules for free. And those 10-page rules are not incomplete. Those are all the rules you need to play. The book, the 140-page book, is all stuff about setting up campaigns, advice, how to interpret, using the rules for different situations. It's and all elaboration and examples. Like there's an entire example campaign in the full rule book. I literally go through and develop a campaign from scratch. So as an example, say, look, this is how you do a full campaign. But if you just want to get started playing and see what it is, the 10-page version is free. If you want to play with me, if you go to my Patreon, everyone who's on there, even the free members, get an invitation to my Discord, where I run games. That's the easiest way to get into a game of this, is to go to the Patreon, sign up for the free one. When you do, I will send you a link to the Discord. I don't give the Discord out freely because spammers. I can't put it out there where people can just see it. So the way I gate it is you have to actually sign up in the Patreon on the free version of the Patreon.
That's a good way to do it, because because those freaking Discords get crazy.
Yeah. The other way too, actually, the other thing is, if you want to play this weekend, I'm running the games at Long Island Track this weekend. I'm running the game. I'm going to be running my game, but mostly I'm actually running a different game called Dread, which is the Jenga-based RPG.
Oh, I know Dread.
Remember I said there's like 3 games, I think. Like that is the number. That's the second game I think is undisputably in the top 3.
Dude, that game is crazy.
It's great. It's the perfect marriage of like theme and mechanics.
Dude, I've watched people play it, and it's just crazy.
Yep. For those who don't know what that is, it's a horror role-playing game. But I actually also use it a lot for anything tense and suspenseful. It's fantastic for.
Dude, folks, it's Jenga is already suspenseful and stressful
exactly.
as it is. Can you imagine having to play Jenga and role play at the same time?
Yeah,
and if you knock over the Jenga, your character is dead.
Yes. It's a game for one shots where most characters will die. I have modded it in a couple of cases where the characters won't die, but something just you fail. Like I ran a Mission to Mars game using Dread, where none of the characters were actually on the spaceship, but when they screw up, they kill one of the spaceship crew.
Wow.
Their character doesn't die.
At least you know that going in. I mean, it's like it's a surprise. I mean, there's always that.
It's a way to make sure people don't feel they get the first person that died doesn't feel left out.
Yeah, but at least the mortality rate is like 100%. It's like
it's actually most games of Dread don't have with everybody dead. There's usually a final girl, the last survivor of the horror movie gets, 1 or 2 get out, but it's dead. That's the way it's intended to.
It's great, folks. Play it, folks. Play it. I'm telling you, play it.
Mm-hmm. But yes, the way that the effect that Jenga has on the actual experience of playing the game is huge.
Yeah, like I said, man, Jenga stresses you out as it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much worse when characters are on the line.
The way it changes the way you just sit at the table.
Yeah.
Because when you're playing this game, the table is your enemy. If anybody bumps that table, everybody's on like.
I've seen Jenga played with 2x4s.
Well, do you think people cheat? Will, I mean, Jenga's like one thing, but like if I'm an opponent and it's my opponent's turn, I might just accidentally bump the table.
Well, it's not an opponent game. That's but that's not the whole thing. You're not in a. It's not a. You're not playing this as you're trying to kill each other.
Okay.
I've never seen anybody in a game of Dread actually intentionally kill off anybody. Because. Seriously, it does actually. I felt it gets people in a kind of we're together. We're disagreeing, like we're playing this together, but we're all in the same horrible situation type. Now there are betrayals. Let's be absolutely clear. most games are. It's a horror movie. There's people are betraying people,
Yeah.
but players are not betraying players.
Yeah.
You've got to theme. You've got to, it's a there's a theme to this game. It's just part of it. It's
Oh, it's interesting, folks. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to check it out, you should go to Long Island Trek this weekend and play with Will.
Yeah. I'm actually going to be talking about something I just talked about. I'm doing a talk at Too Many Games in Philadelphia at the end of the month, too.
Oh, cool.
Dread's one of the games I'm presenting there as one of the examples of unusual mechanics games.
And of course, if people want to look for you other than the website, where else can they find you?
So you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, all of them on Blue Sky, all under the Game Map or the Game Map LLC. So, but all of them, I'm either the Game Map or the Game Map LLC, and all those. And again, if you go to my webpage, if you scroll down, you'll see links to all of my social media. I actually am most active on Patreon. If you want to see the most of the things I post, but you'll get most of what I did. So. This is the original Game Map. This is the website I named my company after. This is the first thing I made. It's a website for people to put up their own gaming events. So it's entirely user generated. Sometimes the user is me, but it's entirely user generated. So you put your whatever events you've got going on, and then you can just go and see what's happening.
That's a pretty good idea.
Right on.
And of course, there's the trick.
It is mostly Long Island based right now. I've tried, and I had temporary success occasionally getting it off the island, like to New Jersey, New York City. But the most consistent users have always been on Long Island. I was very ambitious. If you see, I put a map of the entire U.S.
Yeah, I saw the map.
Yeah, but in practice, recently it's been Long Island. Most of the users. I'm trying to expand outward, but it's most users are on Long Island.
Love it, love it, love it. Great idea. I like the fact that you're constantly thinking and moving forward because you can't stay still, folks.
It's true. Yeah, you can't stay still. Got to move. Having fun is in the moving.
Oh,
when
definitely.
you stop, it's such a cliche, a corny cliche, but it's not. It's not the destination; it's the journey. When you finish the destination, you stop moving. It's the movement that's the fun part. Yeah. Sometimes it's like a carnival, and it's just as scary as it is exciting, but it's still exciting.
When you're done, you get that moment of yes.
Yep.
Oh, then you need to keep. Then you need to move again. Yeah. Then it's time to move again. Yep.
Very much so.
Take the moment to appreciate it, or the week, or whatever. But you want to keep moving.
Speaking of time, Paul, why don't you tell the people who you are, all the good stuff?
Awesome. So yeah, Time Enforcers episode 2 is coming out as a comic book to start. We have a pre-launch for a Kickstarter going on right now, close to 60 followers on the Kickstarter.
Right on.
But we're also doing a Facebook, Instagram ad campaign, which is doing really well. So I'm pretty excited about that. So you can sign up and get a free digital copy of the preview edition. And then if you go to the next page, actually we're giving away, we're not giving away, but for $5, you can buy into the Time Enforcer Secret Circle. And I have the first card here. There's actually 2 cards that we're offering. One is a dossier card of Amelia, and the other is a dossier card of Nick. And those will be included if you sponsor our tiers on the Kickstarter launch. And then you'll get these 2 cards if you buy them for $5 on the campaign. So it's kind of cool. It's got information about the character on the front, and it's got this really cool Time Enforcer Secret Circle logo on the back.
Dude, I really like calling it a dossier card because it's very clear what the card is.
Thanks.
As silly as it sounds, it's so simple but very pragmatic. I like that.
Thank you. It's tied into the book itself, Ray, because I actually have in the back of the book there'll be a section called the Chronoton, and it will offer these dossier cards, but even more detail about the character, and so that way you're actually learning about who these people really were in history. Mm-hmm. And then there's also puzzles in the book. So the 48-page book is going to have 2 puzzles at this point. One's going to be a word jumble, and the other's going to be a crossword. And if you can't find the answers, can't figure out the answers, you go to the Chronoton section and you can find the answers there. So it's really meant to be, this all-inclusive thing where you have to go to the internet. It's all self-contained and really meant to be a lot of fun. My inspiration for this was the Highlights magazine from the doctor's office when I was a kid.
I remember those. Yeah.
So that's what I do. So aside from Fractured Fairy Tales and the Highlights magazine, this is kind of like my inspiration for doing all this stuff. It's kind of hokey, but it's kind of cool. And we're gearing up for Garden State Comic Fest coming up at the end of this month on the 27th and 28th. We are developing some really great swag. I have buttons that I'm creating. One is of Togo here. If you can zoom in on me, Ralph, that'd be great.
Hold on a second. There we go.
And it's going to be packaged in, but basically it says Togo, lead the way. So it's kind of fun. And it comes with this little card here, which is kind of cool. So you got, get zoomed in, there we go. Get this little card, just a little description of him, and it also talks about the pin on the back. But what's really cool about these is when I got these pins, they had those rubber attachments, and I got sick of that. So I actually went to Amazon, and I bought these really cool snap-on clips because I bought pins that had the black rubber, and I lost them. So I said, it's not going to happen. I really took the time to get these clips so they go on, and they're not coming off. So it's really
They're not messing around.
Don't mess around. I really produce quality stuff, so I'm really excited about that. Well, you got one more pin, man. Keep this focus up, will you? Come on.
You got more pins?
Come on, I got one more pin to show off. Yeah, I got Amelia Earhart. She's all Moxie, so it's kind of cool. So she's fun, too. And we'll have 6 pins available. We're actually doing all the characters from the episode. So we'll have a Nick pin. We'll have a Maisie pin. We'll have a, who else we got? Maisie, Nick, Chronolith, and what's the last one? Amelia, who am I missing? Amelia, Nick. Sorry, I'm getting tired. Amelia, Nick, Maisie, Togo, Chronolith, and there's 6. I can't remember what the 6th one is. I'll figure it out. Anyway, but yeah, I'll have 6 pins total. We'll have those available. We're going to have our VIP cards available as well. So not only can you get them through the Facebook ad campaign, but you'll be able to purchase packs of the 2 cards. So if you purchase the packs of the 2 cards at the table, you'll be automatically registered into the Secret Circle. And the Secret Circle is going to allow you membership to our Discord channel. I'm really trying to build a community there. And the way I want to approach this whole project is anyone that signs up for the Kickstarter or for the free comic or whatever, I'm going to be sending free stuff throughout the year. So we'll have digital stickers that we'll be offering. We'll have digital prints. If I get adventurous and things really take off, I'll order some, offer some free print stuff as well. So I'm pretty excited about this. We have 5 variant artists that have developed covers for this campaign, which I'm pretty excited about. Angel Lopez did a cover. Chris Madd did a cover. Keith Williams.
Right on, Chris Madd.
Yeah. And then
awesome.
Will Torres is doing a cover. He's going to be finishing up. And Angel Conception III did a cover. And they're all different. They're all fantastic. I'm really happy to offer this. So not only can you get individual variants, but I'll be offering like a mix and match, or if you want to get all 5, you can get all 5. And so so I'm starting to work out the tiers now for the campaign and, get it so where people can buy in. You'll have an opportunity just to get the digital comic. It's to be 48 pages, but that's for like $10. But then I'll be offering a sheet of vinyl stickers, and that'll be a $15 tier. And then everything above that is all physical merchandise. So our $20 tier will be the digital comic, the vinyl stickers, and a hard copy of the comic book itself. So I'm trying to add as much value as I can to this, get people involved, get them to like it. Because, this is just episode 2. I have episode 3 scripted out. I know exactly where I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to start working on episode 4 soon as well. So this is an ongoing adventure. It's all working towards an education framework that I'm developing. What's great about graphic novels is it really applies all the classic, not even classic, but all the foundational models for universal design for learning. So graphic novels are great for readers of all levels, and that's really what I'm looking to do is include this as one aspect of this education framework that I'm building called History All Around Us. And this will be offered to kids like in 5th to 10th grade, and really trying to build this curriculum so that I can make this, a worthwhile experience for kids who want to learn history in school. So
yeah, it's weird how so many people, actually I said now younger teachers, I think not so much, but I remember you seem to feel that somehow when you get older, you're supposed to stop learning from pictures.
Yeah.
that somehow they're not a valid way to learn anymore. It's
Yep.
really is strange like that. Yeah. Nobody, you never stop learning from seeing
Nope, you
something.
don't.
It's
No, and
never, yeah.
because it's really multi-sensory when you get right down to it. I mean, if you read a book, which is important because it involves your imagination, right? But when you start seeing a book that with word balloons and with photos or illustrations, whatever they may be, you now start to take in multi-sensory, make it a fully multi-sensory experience. And that's where you start seeing synapses firing in the brain. And that's why it's so effective for kids that, have learning disabilities, that they go to these graphic novels and they are able to start to learn how to read really fervently and understand everything. It's because of that tie-in with the visual and the words. So
I don't think it's even learning disabilities. I remember when I was when I was in high school, the best book I remember reading about history in high school was 90% pictures. It was a World War II book. I still remember.
Yep.
But it was literally just nothing but pictures and a few words at the bottom of each page.
Yep.
I told the story and told it, and I remembered more of that than anything else I'd read about history. Yeah.
Yep. It's funny you say that, Will, because the experience that I hear from everyone that I speak to about this, and even from educators, I mean, they're touting where in the world is Carmen Sandiego, Oregon Trail. And it's like, these are the memorable aspects that people experience in learning. It's like engaging that gamified experience, but doing it in a way where it's, presenting the information that makes it adaptable for people to learn. Just learning dates and events through a textbook just doesn't cut it anymore. There's just, no one has the attention for that. And really looking to try and break that barrier down and really have kids involved in wanting to learn, wanting to explore. If they find a subject they want to learn about, they can go to the references that I include in all my work. So I'm sourcing the materials from reputable sites. If someone wants to learn about feudal Japan, I got a whole list of references they can go to. It's on my website, as well as in the back of the whatever materials I produce, so they can find that for themselves if they want. Yep. But I'm excited. This is a lot of fun. It's shaping up pretty well. Episode 2. I keep saying this. I only have about 6 more pages done. I've been distracted with the Kickstarter so far, but I've been working out the layouts for the rest of the book so I can get everything done and printed by September, which I know will work out great. We'll be offering a hardcover edition as well. With that, we're going to be featuring a gallery of art that I commissioned over the past year and a half from the different Comic-Cons I attended. I'll be featuring artists that interpreted my characters in the game, and I'll be including their art along with their bio, like a 25-word bio, as well as their link to their social media sites, because I really feel that giving back to the community where I am drawing from is really important to promote these people. So look and make this as an opportunity for them, as well as also could be a really cool autograph book. So I have like Keith Williams, I got V. Ken Marion, I got Scott Hanna, I got several illustrations by Keith Williams. So it's just, there's a lot of opportunities for people to get involved and make it more than just a comic, and actually make this almost like an autograph volume for them as well. So.
I love how interactive all this stuff is, and you try to keep it interactive, whether it's the comic book or the video game or the history stuff in the school, you're constantly trying to keep it in an interactive sort of way.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, I think, they keep talking about screen time, and I keep seeing the screen time for toddlers going up. It's like, good gravy. 3 and 4-year-olds on iPads, and that's their experience. I relate this story different times, but I was watching News 12 like a few weeks ago, and it was talking about a teacher who saved a kid with a Heimlich maneuver during a classroom experience, and thank God for that. She was able to help the kid. But on the B-roll footage, they're showing this kid at a desk with headphones on, looking at a computer, totally isolated. I don't know if he was taking a test. I don't get the impression he was taking a test. I think he was learning, something. And it's just like, good gravy. Why don't you just be home and do this on your own instead of like get into, a conversation with other students around you, which is what I did as a kid. I mean, we worked with each other. We had our alone time where we had to like focus on things, but even then it was like at a desk writing something down. It wasn't like sitting in a cubicle totally isolated like an isolation tank. You know, it's just I don't get it. I really don't. It's like we're trying to isolate people and not have this interaction where you can discuss ideas and not want to, you know. I don't know. It really frustrated me. I saw that.
Yeah,
it's really disheartening. So,
well, it's a tough thing with. There's the balance of, I mean, I got 3 kids of my own, and there are times, man, I could use a break, especially when my oldest one is almost 10. My youngest one is 31 months younger than that. And there was a time when all of them go back 5+ years. It was tough. It's tempting to say, here's the widget. Now I can breathe for a minute. It's understandable how people get themselves into this position. But when you consider it, it's slight, but it's still significant enough to note. Autism jumps if kids are subjected to screens a lot before the age of 2.
Yep.
If the kid won't stop crying, here's the iPad. Okay, mommy needs a bit of a rest here. It's very tough to avoid that temptation.
Yep.
But if you got some type of game plan, I mean, 2 doesn't necessarily apply here, but at earlier ages, having something that is engaging, like you're saying, and not just, I mean, last year it was a buzzword, brain rot. You don't want to just be feeding them brain rot. So you'd rather give them something that, you know, they're going to absorb this. They might as well rather be repeating this instead of Skibbity Toilet Ohio Riz.
Skibbity Toilet.
Well,
my friends are teachers, and they're like the horror stories, about this stuff.
After this Kickstarter, I'll be working on the role-playing game that I've developed for this. So it's going to be a combination Trivia Pursuit, because you need history, right? So you're going to have some Trivia Pursuit. But it's also going to include a role-playing aspect as well, because this is a comic book. So I'm combining the 2 together to make it where kids are not only learning things through the trivia cards, but they'll also be role-playing their way through the game because they have to use their imagination to get out of situations. So, and I really wanted to make this an easy setup, like you're saying, Will. I mean, I played Dungeons and Dragons with my kids, and I got to the point where I just threw the rule book out. I just, sat down with them and got tired of setting things up and just playing with them. And because I had a limited amount of time with them as it was as a parent, and I got 3 boys, and, to sit down for an hour just to prep the game, I said, screw it. I'm just going to get into it. Just do it. And then, I didn't care what the rules were. We were throwing for initiative. I had no clue. We were just rolling dice, and the kids were having a blast rolling the dice. I said, yeah, that's a hit. Go for it. Just like it was fun. No big deal. So it's just, I really want to make this game like really loose in terms of the rules. You don't have to really get stressed about them. Easy to learn, easy to play. So you just get in and play and enjoy it. That's really what's going to come.
This is my jam. So if you ever want me to play test something or just talk it out with, I'd love to.
I'll send it over to you, man. I got the cards set up for the first episode. What I want to do is do the second episode ready to go, and then start doing after school testing with the kids in schools with this. And the role playing game will be great for that. I wanted to do the video game, but I'm kind of stuck in this mire now with the comic book role playing game. I'll get back to developing episode 2 on the iPhone and Android platforms, no problem. It's like 60% there, but I get distracted with this whole other stuff, so it's okay. It's fine. Everything's moving forward. I just keep moving forward. I don't care. It'll get there eventually. So we're good.
Keep moving forward.
Always.
Great movie, man. I love it.
Love it. And of course, you were talking a little bit about it before. Why don't you give us the whole spiel?
You want the whole spiel? Well, let's talk about the relevant stuff first, and then I'll talk about the background of this successful campaign. Long story short, we're open for a little bit longer for late pledges. The one in particular, we do have an opening tier where you can buy in and hire professional dungeon master Michael Towson to facilitate a one-shot. You'll play alongside myself and a few others, and there are a couple spots open. So if you're interested in playing D&D, if you've never played D&D before, and this is a great first impression of it. So look for that. We will be playing once we close the late pledges. We'll pick a date and have some fun. Anybody interested in fantasy? This is a 3-issue miniseries. You can get all 3 issues. Purchase right now with a delivery expected for August, maybe a little bit later. And the core story of this is about, and I've said this lots of times before, if you have friends that you don't get to see as much as you used to in a more youthful era of your life, you probably are going to relate to this. This is an homage. If anybody, that cover right there, that's an homage to the first Final Fantasy in regards to the battle sequence. But if you have friends that you miss that you don't get to see as much as you used to, this book is an homage to that level of camaraderie through the theme of fantasy, told through the medium of a comic book. That one is a metal foil cover of Dunanini walking away from some fire. The whole plot, the premise is 4 friends that meet for the first time in a long time in their hometown, and they are inclined to believe after certain series of events that a local drug issue has some type of say in the beginnings of a failed undead outbreak. So all 3 issues take place in one night. It is about them pulling on some threads and following some leads, and maybe having to do a lot of chewing depending on how much they consider themselves biting off here. Raf, could you play the trailer at the top?
Sure. Look at all these beautiful covers.
Many beautiful covers there. Many talented artists.
I love this video you did, Ray. It's awesome.
Thanks. Thank you. Cable Foster and Michael Towson voiced the characters in this trailer.
While making contact with our friends Chasco and Sarlacc, we crossed paths with an undead outbreak in Ivywood. This led us down a rabbit hole involving a local drug called Weave, bandits, kidnapped citizens, and an ominous book which I was able to gather critical information from. Time was not on our side, and we were not the most qualified to address this urgency.
We need to blow up the distillery.
Can't hold this spell much longer! The necromancer is mine. I am your beacon!
And a jump scare at the end.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love this. Love the monster.
So by the start of issue 3, which this campaign was about, all 4 friends, they're kind of behind the 8 ball. They've been playing catch up in regards to all of these details. And right at the start of this final issue, they find some critical information through that book mentioned in the trailer. Basically, there's a curse that's going to be set on their hometown by sunrise. They have a handful of hours left. They don't even have enough time to go and get help or support. These are not the toughest individuals in the realm, and they are definitely out of their league. But they're in a scenario, if they do nothing, they'll never be able to look at themselves in the mirror again. So this boils down to, are these fellas, are they too exhausted by the end of this night? Are they lucky enough to pull off a win? This is a matter of just seeing where the chips lie and where the dust settles by the time we're done with this.
Love it, love it, love it, folks. If you like your D&D, this is right up your alley.
Yep. How did you get inspired to start the story?
This is based off of the first homebrew campaign I ever ran over 15 years ago. The main difference is I took out the characters that the players are playing as, and I injected in my own.
Okay. Cool.
Yep, I love that. You know, it's great to see, like, you know, because what ends up happening is you go live through this stuff and you never see it again. But it's great, like, you've been seeing it more often now, where either people make video games or they make comic books, and these campaigns get a second life.
Yes.
Yeah, well, because you put so much creativity into it already.
Yeah.
You know, it's so much. There's so much creativity put into these, you know, over the course of months or years sometimes on these campaigns. Yeah.
One of the best things about writing this story after the fact, for me, although it's a pseudo history, a fake history, it still happened like it was history. So I could just state the facts, quote unquote. It was just something that happened. Here's what happened. The new characters brought in different dynamics, of course, but it was I was surprised how well they gelled together, how well they synergized, how well they rubbed each other the wrong way in certain cases, and how well they interacted with their environment. I got the hiccups.
Uh-oh. I was going to tell you, you should help out our pal Phil.
Yes. Or at the halfway point. This is my publisher. Shout out to Philbo Publishing. Papa, if you like stories like Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, if you like stories like A History of Violence, and if you like stories like Gran Torino, take all of those 3 films with a twist that is not revealed yet. This is basically an old man versus the mafia. What else can you ask for? Like that, that's it in a nutshell. It's a good time. I've read the script to all 5 issues. I've read the first issue. This is issue 1 and 2. I guarantee you, if you're looking for something different, this is going to scratch that itch.
And it's Father's Day right there around the corner. This is a perfect Father's Day gift.
Yes, it's
a great script, and I tell you, the artwork's amazing. And the other thing is, the story's just phenomenal. I mean, Phil did a great job with this. I've only read issue 1. I can't wait for issue 2. It's really cool.
I'm actually in the same position. I met him at Bethpage Library, so I've
right on.
Issue. I got the first issue.
Phil's a great guy.
Yeah. The ending is it's a good springboard for the last 4 issues.
In fact, you reminded me that I need to reach out to him. I was talking about some stuff, and I need to get back in touch with him.
Oh yeah, do that. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
And folks, come on! This is a perfect Father's Day gift.
Yes,
pick it up. It's a great story. Both Ray and I have read the whole thing, and I have to say, this is a heartwarming tale of family, a relationship between a father and a son, and a lot of beautiful surprises. If you like Silver Age comics, this will be right up your alley.
Yep. There's much to discuss after you're finished reading that first issue.
That's definite.
Much to discuss. We are not going to spoil it, but I guarantee you're going to want to buy into this fun. As already stated, Father's Day is coming up. The reason that is so important here is this book is a tribute to Phil's late father. Phil wrote this story while his father was still alive. He speaks very highly of his father. He doesn't think his father's perfect. But in regards to being a father, paying the bills, doing the work that needed to get done for a family, he very much respected him for that. So his goal was to originally finish this for his father to read the end product instead of just the script. That unfortunately didn't work out the way he wanted, but he still wants to finish the course, get this done. If you have a mother or a father that you think highly of, Phil's trying to get this out of his system. Most artists, if they have art, one of my favorite things Raph ever told me once is never tick off a writer because he'll kill you 1,500 times in stories. And this is the opposite. Phil needs to get this exaltation out of his system.
He's not even trying to make a profit. He's not trying to make money. He just wants to make this happen.
Yes. Yeah, you're going to want to buy into this one.
As folks, I hope you guys have enjoyed the beautiful day here with a lot of geek and role play talk and writing talk and creativity talk. Love the show when it gets all geeky and we have so much geekery. All right, folks, go check out Will. He will be at LI Trek this weekend, so you can actually see him in person. And actually, dude, the game he will be showcasing is a lot of fun. You might want to go check that out.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Yep. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to running it. I've enjoyed every time I've ever run a Game of Dread.
Dude, every time I've watched it, it's so entertaining. So.
Yeah.
I tell you, I want to try that Dread Jenga. That's awesome.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, that's exactly
what we're talking
about. I think playing it while you're drunk could be working well too.
If you want nobody survive, then that's a very short game. That'll be a very, very short role playing.
I've seen people play it like that too, and he's right. It's a very short. Any last words before we go, guys?
No.
It was awesome. Nice meeting you all.
No, but I get to see somebody this weekend.
For sure.
Yep.
Just happy to be on, Raf. Thank you for the hospitality, and anybody watching, go check out these lovely fellas' stuff on the go right now. There's good stuff going on here.
Great.
Folks, these guys are great. Go check them out. I put all the links into the comment section so you can go check that out. On this show, when it ends, I press the button, and where